Bring it on in. Crept up on y'all. You didn't expect this, did y'all? Listen, I know it's Friday night, but we know as the day turns into night, we're walking in to a new day. I know a lot of things have gotten us kind of, misinformed, but based biblically, the night or the new day begins. It would be at twilight, so it would be 6, 7, 8 o'clock at night, and that's when the new day starts. Got to remember, this was the same way for thousands of years until the Roman Greco Empire moved in and started to change. But it's good to see y'all. It's good to see everybody here. I hope everybody's enjoying the Sabbath, and we almost got, or we have a triple Sabbath. Meaning, when we go back and we look at the set apart days, the holy days that the Most High Yah has given us, we have to look at, and I know it's a little difficult, because it's like we kind of know the world as we know it now, and it's kind of hard to, kind of hard to, try to think of something or understand something that we may not have ever seen, or we may not truly know. I'm just trying to gather my thoughts, just a few seconds right here. Meaning, like, I like to use a good analogy. Shalom. One of the analogies I would like to use is, most of us, we've seen the movie, we've seen Back to the Future. Hold on, before I start, let me Facebook is acting up tonight. I'm trying to invite some friends to watch. Whoever's on here, thank you. I saw a thumbs up come across the screen. Yeah, so however it proceeds, it proceeds. But I like to say that we, in order sometimes for us to really understand the past or understand what's going on, it takes the mind. The mind has to be kind of strong to understand something that it doesn't know or something that it didn't see. Shalom, Mom. It's good to see you. I was trying to bring people on in, and the phone was is acting up. I was just talking about how our mind has to understand the order and the calendar that we have that's before us now. Trying to bring Prophet Jason on in to come join on in. Here we go. Okay. And I was talking about, Mom, just us trying to understand the concept of 12-hour days, or nightfall begins, or excuse me, at nightfall, not 12 o'clock at night, at 6 o'clock, it begins a new day. And I know people may say, hey, well, that's back in the day, but I was trying to explain that the way of the time and the structure of how the earth and how the world was moving all the way up until about 2,000 years ago, everybody, so about 4,000 years, 3 to 4,000 years for sake of argument, this is how everybody knew. Everybody knew come 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock at night, that began a new day, right? And I we understand that. It's written in the Bible. We can see it in Genesis, and I understand we are in today's world, and sometimes we don't look at it until 24 hours. So some people, they may hear me and say, yo, this guy's off the wagon. Braz, elder, he's losing his mind. No, I'm just trying to show you how our brain has evolved. So it's like today, if something happened, some catastrophic event happened, or some other nation just came in today and took over the world, right? We would be what? Following their calendar. We would be following their time, their dates, their structure of life. So for example, if China just took over the world tomorrow, they have their own calendar. They have their own days. They have their own holidays that are based around their government as well as the God that they worship. So if they kind of took over, so we would be looking like, hey, what do you mean the beginning of the new year? Listen, I don't know the calendar. The beginning of the new year is in July. You get it? It could be in July for them, but everybody after, they would start to understand this and understand this is how the world is. Hey, Shalom, Prophet. I was trying to bring you on in. Facebook was kind of acting up. So I just want to just hope everybody's enjoying, the Passover feast. Yes, Mom. And I know it's hard. I was talking to a friend of mine this week, actually at work. Really, I was actually talking to Prophet Jason, and he happened to walk in, and we were just talking about the days, and I said, about Passover versus Easter, or Passover versus Good Friday, and we were in the middle of talking, and I see him, he's trying to add his math up, because I said to Prophet Jason, I said, listen, I said, we all know now, it's like that Tuesday night, Yeshua had the Passover. Wednesday, he gave his life. He went before Pilate before that night. Wednesday, he was putting up on the cross, or putting up on the tree or on the beam, and he was in the grave 3 days and 3 nights. And as I was speaking it, he walked in my office, and I said, there's no way that as we know, from Friday to now, you can get 3 days and 3 nights. And he was like literally sitting there trying to count. And I looked at him, and it's one of those things where you saw the face changes, that the mind went from trying to figure out something to anger to just sitting there looking, and it was, you could tell it disturbed him. So later on, he ended up saying, hey, I heard you speaking and telling somebody something. He said, I'd never heard that before. So I just told him, I said, listen, I understand you may celebrate Good Friday. I said, but you have to understand the origins of Good Friday and how, and I didn't want to get super deep getting into the whole concept of the other gods that were out there, but I just wanted to give him the simple math. I said, you can't get 3 days and 3 nights from Friday to Sunday. And he sat there and he nodded his head, kind of like in disgust. And he was like, I don't know what to say. He didn't know what to say, like most of us. The first time we hear it, or the first time, it's not hearing it, it's hearing it and really trying to grasp it and do it. We understand that this was what in the world happened. So, but that's my long-winded way to say is that we are on tonight. I'm here. The Most High said, listen, let's release this lesson. We know according to Leviticus chapter 23, even if we're online for unleavened bread, we are to assemble, come together. I know some have kept Passover. They kept some people did it Tuesday. Some people started it on Wednesday, which Harim Shalamet have, and most of y'all have. Some started Thursday, and some people started Friday, right? So we understand the Most High is I know he's just smiling, because he's like, look, I know my children are down there trying to do something right. I understand that they didn't say, well, we don't know what day it is, so we're not going to celebrate it. We're not in our land, so we don't have the lamb, so we don't have the structure, so we're not going to do it. Now, all due respect, if that's what you choose to do, you can do it. I've heard all kind of different things. But I first want to say shalom, shalom, shalom. And yes, the elder crept up on you on Friday. So for those who can catch the replay, do so. Give me a thumbs up. Give me a like. Share with your family. So I'm going to first, start out today's lesson out of the book of Numbers chapter 28. And this is saying the offerings, right, for what? The festival or festival of unleavened bread. So Numbers chapter 27, and I'm starting at verse 28 in verse 16. It says, Pesach, the Passover festival, is in honor of Yah. The Passover festival is in honor of the Lord. The Passover festival is in honor of Yahweh. The Passover festival is in honor of the only one true living God. Period. It says it right here. It should be held on the 14th day of the first month. So I said this before. This is like Prophet Jason, this is like our Super Bowl. Any believer, anybody who says, I want to be a follower of Yeshua. Any believer says, I want to be a follower, WWJD. You're a follower. You have to follow what he did in order to be considered a follower of his, right? He kept the Passover. He kept all of Yah's feast days. And we have to understand as believers that this day, it wasn't for man. This day says this is a day that was what? In honor of Yah. He says in other verses, this is my Moedim. His day is like it's his birthday. We don't know his special day. The heavens are erupting. They are having praise. They are just happy because Yah saying this is his day. It's just like your birthday and no one shows to honor you for your birthday and everybody knows it. You don't get a phone call. You don't get a text. I know we've all been there because I've been there myself. You don't even get a happy birthday. You don't get to go to HELL hockey sticks, right? You get nothing. So imagine how the Most High could honestly be feeling. He's saying this day is set apart for me. He said, so on the 15th day, a religious or a festival begins, which lasts 7 days. I'm reading out the GNT version. I really like that word right there. So now we begin the Feast of Unleavened Bread. So unleavened bread is I might as well just go ahead because it's us today. So unleavened bread, as we know, is talking about you can't have leaven or any bread with yeast or products in your house with yeast, any cookies, cupcakes. You got to look at your dairy ingredients. But the yeast means it's something that what? That rises, something that really, when it rises, it holds you down at the same time, right? So we understand that the yeast is symbolic or metaphoric to telling us to get rid of those things that were within us, right, Prophet? So those things that were within us, that are within us, that aren't like the Most High, he's telling us, listen, I want you to what? Release those things. Let those things go. We can't go to the throne and we're carrying baggage with us. We can't go to his throne on his day and we're bringing things that what? Make us what? Heavy. He wants us to be light. He wants us to come to him and rejoice and be refreshed and you understand? So it says, so it lasts 7 days when only prepared with bread only prepared without yeast to be eaten. On the first festival, you are to gather for worship, the first day of festival. So I understand for us, we're coming in, we're into the festival. So Wednesday night was Passover, Thursday night from Thursday 6 p.m. and now we're go Friday, and Friday night came in, and Saturday, and some of us we came together. He's telling us come together and what? Have a set apart day, set apart time. I want you to come together, right? So, when we look at Pesach and Passover, it's the same thing. It's a feast day that Yah, as y'all know, right? He wants us to keep there forever, right? So I just wanted to really just jump into that real fast and Passover, and I'm sure most of us, Prophet Jason, and if we did it, make sure you grab your shofar and blow it. I know there are still some assemblies or people who choose to blow their shofar on the assembly, but through the research that I've done, I have looked and I said that the shofar is something that's very holy, right? And the Bible tells us a certain time, certain dates for it to be blown, and during his feast days, but myself, not taking away a Sabbath day of rest, some choose to blow. I mean, I could be in error, but I've researched it. But I definitely know during the new moons and during our feast days, and there's different times I did a lesson on it that we should blow our shofar. So as we are in the Pesach week, in the Passover week, I'm going to blow it. That's right, girls. Hallelujah. Right? So that means all praise to the Most High. So we're going to look at Numbers chapter 10 for those who don't know why we blew the Passover, right? A Passover, and my daughters, they made me a beautiful Passover, made us a beautiful Passover.
What about me?
I know, I'm going to get to you, Amir. It says Passover, right? One side is light, one side is what? We're passing over. My other daughter, happy Passover 2026. Enjoy your weekend, but we know enjoy our week. Love God, love Yahweh, and prayer is good, right? This says, do you love Elohim? Do you love God? If you're here tonight, we know you do, because we know that today we're moving into a new Sabbath. Yes or no was the question. Yes or no? Now, I know there are some reasons that some may not be able to be here, but this was the questions that my daughters posed. They came up with it, right? Your answer is yes. This is how you're looking. You're happy, you're smiling, right? That's from Amir. He says, Yah, you are the best friend I ever had. I love you, Yah, so much. And this is a heart. And this is a star. Then this one says, Shalom. So we know Shalom, Shalom, Shalom means what? Peace, peace unto you, right? So they actually submitted this. So as we know, this is the time of the year that that the Most High has set apart for us. And I understand some people may have other things that they're doing. Some people are spending time with the family. That's all as well. But let me get back in the book of Numbers, chapter 10, verse 10. It says, listen, also on joyful occasions, right? It says, at your new moon festivals and your other religious or other festivals, you are to blow the trumpet when you present your burnt offering and your fellowship offerings. Then I will help you. I am the Lord your God. So we understand when we look at this, we see that, the Most High Yah is listening. Not only is it so sacred, the heavens are open. They're open. We have almost a triple for those who have kept Passover on Wednesday. On Wednesday, starting 6 p.m. Feast of Unleavened Bread starting Thursday. Remember, we're starting to roll into the times. Friday, we're rolling into Sabbath. So that's giving us 3 days to just give the Most High Yah his praise and just speak to him and talk to him. Right, Prophet? So, we have to understand that Yah is giving us seasons and times and places to say, hey, listen, I'm letting you or giving you a pathway to be able to keep that open. No, God, a pathway. Okay, no, a pathway to come towards me, right? Excuse me. You can put your fan on in there, Gabriella. He's giving you a time, and this is the time, and we shouldn't take for granted. So let's jump to Psalms chapter 81. It says, shout for joy to Yah, our defender. Sing praise to the God of Jacob. Start the music and beat the trampolines. Play pleasant music on the harps and lyres. It says, blow the trumpet for what? the festival, when the moon is new and when the moon is full, right? So we just experienced that. Now, you know, myself, Prophet Jason, others, we've been trying to keep track of the moons. And I know some people don't like science, but they do give the moon apps. And, you know, we have to be careful and we understand science. We have to understand there's some people that like to count the dates, but sometimes you count the dates, you become off. You keep track of the moon cycle, and some people use the lunar cycle. But with the moon cycle, we can see nakedly with our eye what a full moon is and what it's not. Sometimes they're very close, right? And, you know, to each his own, you know, as long as you're keeping the new moon and is allowing us to see a new moon. It says where the moon is new and the moon is full. This is the law of Israel, an order from Yahweh, the God of Jacob. So he told us this is what? This is a law. This is an order. This is something that he wants us to keep, right? So today, as we start to go into our lesson, right? Hey, Shalom. As we start to go on our lesson is going to be Mom out of the book of Jasher, right? I think it's Mom, Prophet Jason, and so on, right? So our lesson is going to be out of the book of Jasher, okay? So when we look at the book of Jasher, right, I understand and I know that I'm not taking something that some may say this book is questionable. Some may say this book is apocryphal book or it is a book that's not truly, I don't like to use the word canonized because we understand the people who canonized the Bible weren't the people who should have been canonizing it and categorizing it, right? It's not original book, right? That the world accepts, right? But we can understand when we look at this, it's not just a cartoon, fabricated prophet fantasy story, right? We look at the archaeology. We look at the history. We look at biblical and non-biblical sources, right? So we can't accept science when we want to accept it, and then sometimes don't accept it. We can't say DNA is here, but then when it comes time to prove the correct DNA, it doesn't matter. We can't prove and say that science helped us figure out, okay, the rain, but then turn around and say, well, we're going to discredit it, right? So we understand that this book, and this book was given, right? The book was founded, or the book was authorized, just like Josephus' writings, to what? Help us understand sometimes the historiology or the history of what was going on in this time, right? So when we sit back and we really sit here and start studying this. Now, when we look at Passover, Pesach means to what? To what? To skip or to pass over, right? So we understand the history of Passover, right? We understand that Moses was sent by Yahweh. He went to Pharaoh. He said, let my people go. We understand that he failed to do it. We understand there were 10 plagues that were sent, right? And for those who don't know, go back in and look read all of Exodus, right? Read all of Exodus. You'll understand this, right? But when we see in Genesis, and Deuteronomy, right, what was happening, but we take the book of Jasher, Mom, and we say, okay, well, it gives us a little deeper in-depth look at it. Now, for those who may say Jasher is not correct, let's go to Joshua chapter 10. I just want to give a disclaimer from this based off of the scripture. So Joshua chapter 10, verse 12 through 13. It says, and Yah threw them in confusion before Israel, right? And slew them with a great slaughter at Gibeon, and chased them along the way that goes up to Beth-horon, right? And smote them, right? So we see what was going on here. There was give the backdrop of Joshua of the book of Joshua. There was where the Gibeonites deceived Joshua. There was a war that was going on, right? And then now he's going in and he has to deal with the Amorites, right? So we see that as that was happening, Yah is speaking and he said, Listen, the Lord made the Amorites panic at the sight of what? Of Israel's army, right? The Israelites slaughtered them at Gibeon, pursued them down a mountain path at Beth Horon, keeping up the attacks. I'm going to sort of listen as far as Azekah and Makada. Sorry, y'all, if I butchered it, right? While the Amorites were running down the pass from the Israelite army, the Lord then made large hailstones fall upon them all the way, right, to Azekah. More were killed by the hailstones than by the Israelites, right? So when we start to keep reading, and I'm going to jump down, verse 12 says, on the day Yah gave the men of Israel victory over the Amorites, Joshua spoke to the Lord in the presence of the Israelites. Check this. And he said, get this, Mom, sun, stand still over Gibeon. Moon, stop over Aljon Valley. Verse 13, the sun stood still. The moon did not move until the nation had conquered its enemies. Check this. Excuse me. It is written in the book of Jasher, the sun stood still in the middle of the sky and never did not go down for a whole day. So we see, and I understand that this book was founded in around the 15th century, or possibly authorized around that time, right? So some people have the issues of it, and the original book of Jasher is unknown, right? Because we understand the Dead Sea Scrolls and how they were finding and partial scriptures and partial books, right? But we shouldn't just go and dismiss it, because we understand that the book of Jasher, as we see, right, the original book of Jasher was written in the Paleo-style Hebrew, which we understand and we know is a late, because the Hebrew of today, that was the Hebrew of Moses. The Hebrew of today is more of the Yiddish or the New Age Hebrew, right? So I'm trying to use this book for historical purposes to show you something, right? So let's go to, let me see. 2 Samuel. 2 Samuel, this is going to be a quick lesson, y'all. 2 Samuel, Mom. Chapter 1, verse 18 through 27. Right? And I'm going to just jump right to the verse. 2 Samuel, chapter 1, verse 18. To 27. Hold on, y'all. I need to start taking these contacts out in my eyes, too. Okay, yeah. It starts in verse 17. David sang a lamented song for Saul and his son Jonathan, and ordered it to be taught to the people of Judah. This is recorded in the book of Jasher. You see what I'm saying? You see, so when we look at today's text, it's going to be out of Jasher, chapter 80, right? Verse 36 through 56. And I know it's a long one, but it's going to be a key point that I want everybody just to see real fast, right? So when we look at this, right, let's look at Jasher, chapter 80. And we'll go to verse 36. It says, and so Yah sent what? The locusts into Egypt. The locusts came in. I'm paraphrasing. I'm fast forwarding just so y'all understand. Verse 36. And Yah sent darkness upon Egypt. The whole land of Egypt and Pathros became dark for 3 days. You see this, prophet? So that no man could see his hand when lifted to his mouth. Could you imagine that? They didn't have the lights that we had. Even if there was darkness, you still can see. But this was another level of darkness. This was another level. You know what? And I don't mean any harm, because we get so many people sometimes that don't really understand it. We can say that the Most High can do all these things, right? But still don't believe what he don't have the mindset to believe what he's doing, right? So we understood. I talked to you about Joshua earlier, right? When the Most High said, listen, I'm going to what? Have the sun stand still, right? And in our mind, our earthly mind, we be like thinking, can't nobody make the sun stand still? Can't nobody, I always tell people this. How can you call yourself a believer, but yet disbelieve miracles in the things, yes, Mom, that were happening in that time, right? So if we look at it, the earth was stopped for a period of 24 hours. So if the earth stopped for 24 hours and all movement stopped, right? Catastrophic events, right, would have and could be occurring, right? The whole earth and planet would have just fell on its surface. But those who believe in the power of the Most High understood that he says, I'm going to stop this earth. I'm going to let this sun just shine and give them what? The light that they can see for the amount of time for over 24 hours, right? So I'm going back to Joshua because it made me thought about this, right? The sun didn't go down for a whole day. It said the word said what? It did not, let me go back to the verse. It did not hasten. So that means, right, the rotation did not occur. So this is possible that even the planets, as the sun and the moon and the stars and everything around it just stood still. If we can't say that, we can go back to Genesis. Most of the whole planet, regardless of your denomination, regardless of what you believe in, mostly every so-called religion came out of Genesis. If you can't believe that a woman was taken out of a man and formed them, that's a miracle. If you can't believe that the Most High created heaven and earth, that's a miracle. So I see how people say these things where people say, well, I don't believe that, you can say Yeshua or Yahushua, he rose people from the dead. Everything that you saw that came ahead of time was a miracle. See, this is why we're stuck in our earthly minds, Mom, right? Because we can't understand the miraculous miracles that happen. I have seen miracles. You have seen miracles. I have seen people healed before my eyes. I have seen, and I got to give him Pop Stansbury, line someone up who had a leg that's shorter than the other leg, and like this. Prophet, you saw it. It was nothing. And when I try to tell people this, they be like, hey, Brass, no, I know what I saw. We've seen demons get cast out of people. We saw people crawling up walls. Miracles. So we can't believe that the Most High can say, hey, listen, I'm going to allow the whole earth and the planet to stay still. But let me get back into the reading of Joshua 36. So it said, darkness sat upon Egypt. The whole land of Egypt and Parthos became dark for 3 days. So that means there was no sunlight, no sun, no, not even nothing. So that no man could see, not even his hand. At that time, check this out. Many people of Israel had rebelled against the Lord, against Yah, and those who would not listen to Moses and Aaron and believe not that God had sent them. They didn't believe him. So this is why today sometimes people, they don't believe me. Hey, I know B from back in the day. Hey, I know the struggles that Brass Ryan going through right now. You see what's happening? I know the struggles that you're going through right now, so I can't believe what you're telling me. Sometimes people are telling you things because they're struggling to get through it, and they don't want someone else to go through what they're going through. So really, truth be told, you should kind of believe them and what they're telling you, right? But the point is, they cannot understand that the people at that time that were speaking, right? They were speaking as a mouthpiece, as a prophet for the Most High, right? So, we look at it today, we understand, something historical, Mom, right? When it comes biblical, right? We see even with Alexander the Great and the Maccabees, we have to understand how did the things happen? It's history, right? So today's message is simple. Get yourself right and understand what's before you. It's time for us to pass over. It's time for us to understand the Torah, the Bible that Yah has given for us to what? Help refine us and help us. So let me keep reading. It said, at that time, many people of Israel who had rebelled against the Lord and and who would not listen to Moses and Aaron and believe not in them that Yah sent them, and who he had said will not go forth from Egypt. Yes, we perish with hunger in desolate wilderness, and who would not listen to the voice of Moses. 39. And Yah plagued them in 3 days of darkness, and the Israelites buried them in those days, without the Egyptians knowing of them or rejoicing over them. Did y'all see that? Maybe I gave you a mouthful. Mom, I gave you a mouthful. Prophet gave you a mouthful. It says, we're in Jasher, chapter 80. And for those who are joining, I just went back and showed how Jasher was actually, it may not have been this Jasher, but how it was used in Joshua in 2 Samuel. So we understand it was a book that was out, right? May not be exact this book, but it dealt with the historical, the history. So it said during the plagues, right? And it said, many of the people of Israel who rebelled against Yahweh, many people who did not believe what? The word or the mouthpiece that of Moses and Aaron. What happened? They perished. They died. Yah said, listen, you know, he's saying, look, judgment starts where? We hear the word at the church. So there were Israelites who were supposed to be saved, but they didn't even believe what they were seeing. And the Most High was saying, listen, I'm going to take you out. I understand we don't see this in Exodus. We may not see this in Deuteronomy when Moses gives us the recap. But he's showing us right here that these plagues that were supposed to be set for them, right, set for the Egyptians, even some of the Israelites, Mom, at that time, they perished. They died. And who had said, we will not go forth from Egypt, and we will perish with hunger in the wilderness. So, and the Lord plagued them in the 3 days of darkness, and the Israelites buried them in those days without the Egyptians even knowing them or rejoicing over them. So, listen, it says, I'm going to keep reading. And the darkness was very great in Egypt for 3 days. And any person who was standing when the darkness came remained standing in his place. And he that was sitting, remaining sitting, he was lying and continued lying in that same state. And those who were walking remained sitting on the ground in the same spot. This thing happened to all the Egyptians till darkness had passed away. So, you know, we have to look at this, Mom, and it's time for us to get it right. The judgment begins where? At the assembly. So let's go on to 2 Peter. God's given us the time to get it right. He's saying, listen, I'm at the point, remember, he was going to destroy them beforehand. But if it wasn't for Moses, right, coming in and doing intercession, right, they wouldn't have existed. And you probably wouldn't exist, or I wouldn't exist, or the bloodline descendants wouldn't exist, and the 12 tribes would have been gone. So let's go to, I got 1 Samuel, I got to look at my notes, y'all. I mean, excuse me, First Peter. Almost out the way. 1 Peter. This is going to be our lesson for today. So if you want to go back, you know, I want y'all to spend time tomorrow and review this lesson for Sabbath. So we go back and look at 1 Peter chapter 4 verse 7. It's okay for us to look at historical events, right? It's okay for us to understand, you know, it's all right for us to look at history because it helps us back things up, right? Shalom, sis. It's okay. I'm in Jasher chapter 80, verse 36 through 56, right? And I was showing them in the book of Jasher, showing you, prophetess. It was good to see you. It's hot up here. Y'all sent some of that heat from Texas up here. I mean, it's good because I was just complaining about all of the snow and the coldness, right? We were just showing them how Jasher was spoken about in other books in the Old Testament, right? So I'm going to 1 Peter chapter 4 verse 7, right? It says, "This fills us with living hope, and so we look forward to possessing the rich blessings that Yah keeps for his people. He keeps them for you in heaven, where they cannot decay or spoil or fade away. They are for you, with through faith they are kept safe by Yah's power for the salvation which is ready to be revealed at the end of the time. So we start to see, right? Let's keep reading. But be glad about this, even though it may now be necessary for you to be sad for a while, because many kinds of trials you suffer. Many trials and tribulations we suffer. It says, but the purpose is to prove your faith is genuine. The purpose was to prove when Yah told them don't move, don't move. When he said darkness is coming, don't see, we don't really see the historical aspect of it. Now, we understand even today, it's so many people that we take word and warnings from the Most High, but yet we do something else, right? You know, let's keep it real. Every Hebrew, every Israelite of that time, every person that was grafted in, they did not live and walk righteous. Why do you think they had prisons? Why did they had prisons, they had jails, they had executions? Because they weren't following the law, right? So where I stopped off at, it says, verse 7, the purpose is to prove your faith. Prove your faith. You're here today, right? We know it's Friday, but it's really Saturday. It's the start of the Sabbath. We're in a triple. We in Pesach, unleavened bread, and a Shabbat. We're here, right? You're proving your faith. Even gold, which can be destroyed, is tested by fire, and so can your faith. Which is more precious than gold must also be tested so that it may endure. So, right, we go through those things, right? So what? We can prove to the Most High, listen, first of all, we want to give him thanks, but show him that what? We can endure. We will show him that we have faith. We show him that, you know, the judgment is going to what? Start with me. It starts with you. And then it gets passed down to those who are all around you. You know, you'll have that day when you're sitting before the Most High. And remember, we have to take an account of everything that we said or everything we did or everything that we didn't do. Right? Salvation is in your own hands. You are responsible for your own salvation. I can't expect you to save me, and I can't expect, you can't expect me to save you, but we show each other the way so we both can endure to what? Be saved and make it. We always want to be like, I got time, I got time, I got time. You know how many people thought that and said that throughout life and they're not here? Jeremiah 25, verse 29. It says right here, right? We'll go on 28. And if they refuse to take the cup from your hand and drink from it, then I tell them that Yah, the Almighty, has said that they will still have to drink from it. I will begin my work of destruction in my own city. Do not think that they will go unpunished. No, they will be punished, for I'm going to send war on all the people of the earth. I am Yah Almighty. He is sending what? This is where it all begins. He's sending punishment. He's sending you know, these different type of plagues. Remember, certain things that we face in our life are many plagues. The sicknesses, the illnesses, the mental, they're little plagues. Yah is saying, I need you just to get it right. I need you to have faith. It all goes back into, you know, where we're at in the book of Jasher. I need you to have faith. When I tell you that darkness is coming, if you don't abide by the word, if you don't buy and listen to what I am trying to teach and show you, that you can now what? Suffer destruction. You now can fall. It wasn't meant for you. It was meant for another nation of people, but you did not have faith. So unfortunately, I had to take you out. Unfortunately, I had to make you suffer something bigger. Maybe he didn't take you out, but we suffered things that were bigger than we should have. We should have had no parts of it. Jasher, chapter 80, verse 37 or 36. And Yah sent darkness upon Egypt, and the whole land of Egypt and Pathros became dark for 3 days, so no man could see his hand when he lifted his mouth. At that time, many of the people of Israel who rebelled against Yah and would not listen to Moses and Aaron, but they did not believe in them that Yah sent them. And who he had said will not go forth from Egypt, yet we perish with hunger. desolate wilderness and would not listen to Moses. And God plagued them in the 3 days of darkness. And the Israelites buried them in the days without the Egyptians knowing. And the Egyptians kind of knew and saw that and said, listen, Mom, listen, Pastor, we're in the book of Jasher. Hold on. This God of Israel, the Israelites, God even killed their own people. What do we got going? I believe that if I believe just maybe if they had saw that he said, I have no mercy with my own people, they probably would have said, let them go. The judgment begins at the house, right? 1 Peter 2:9. Remember, who was he speaking with? I'm telling y'all, we got to get this right. We got to pass over. It's a lot of this nonsense that's going on. And this stuff, like I said, I'm not arguing with anybody over what feast day you keep. What date you keep your feast day on, keep your feast day, right? I'm not going to argue with anybody over this, but to turn around and be like, I'm not going to celebrate it because we all argue, or I'm just going to pick some random, date that's way off, Come on now, you're out of order. The judgment begins. 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 9. It says, but you are a chosen race. This is a hard one for some people. You are a chosen race. Yahweh did set, remember, there were nations. It was no such thing as black and white or orange and brown or yellow and red. Well, the red was, but you were broken up into your nation. He says, listen, you are a chosen race, the king's priest, a holy nation, Yah's own people, who were chosen to proclaim the wonderful acts of Yah. Last week, my lesson was what? Brikavana. What is my purpose? What am I supposed to do in life? Why was I created? Yes, some of us don't understand and we don't even know our purpose to this day. It's fine, but get down on your knees. Ask the Most High. Look up to him. Yes, look up to him. Ask him. Show me and tell me what my purpose is, right? He says he's called you out of what? Darkness. He called them out of darkness. But our people want to stay in darkness. Jasher. They wanted to stay unbelievers. They didn't want to believe what was coming. They didn't want to believe that the word that Moses and Aaron was speaking was the light that their soul needed to illuminate them. They wanted to what? Stay in the darkness. So he says, I called you out of darkness into what? His own wonderful light. You are what? His own. You are light, the light being just like him, right? So this is why we got to sit back and we got to look at this. We got to really sit down and understand, right, what was going on here, right? And Peter was reminding that the true teachers and the followers of Torah are going to be the first ones lined up in the judgment to get it right. Let me get back here. Let me just jump to Deuteronomy 7:6 real quick, as most of us know the scripture, because I don't want, listen, people ask, hey, do you think you're better? Do you think according to God's or to the Yah's own aberration, according to to the scripture? There was different nations and different groups of people that were set forth. And there's a group of people that were out to what? Bring the world back into wholeness. Deuteronomy 7:6. It says right here, it says, did I say Deuteronomy 7:6 or 6 and Deuteronomy 6 and 4? No. Deuteronomy 7:6, right? Yes. For you belong to Yahweh, your God, who chose you to be his own special people from all the people on the earth. He chose you and me to be his special people. He chose us to be the light beings. He chose us back in the garden. You'll get it. We were there before. He chose us before he sent us from the Sumerian, from heaven to the earth. To what? Be there and be his people. Right? So when we look at this, we got to understand it. And we understand for those who may not know, go read Deuteronomy 28 verse 64. There's a certain people who were removed and taken from the land. They don't know who they are today. They were scattered into the four corners of the earth. There's only one set group of people in the whole planet, and we know this, but I don't want to get there. This is why there's a major judgment on those group of people. You'll be like, man, no matter what they do, they just seem like they can't get it right. Deuteronomy 28 and 64. Deuteronomy 28, 15 through 64 or 68. When we go down, and I hate it because we need to focus on all the gifts, but the Most High is rewarding us for our gifts because he wants us to be what? In the light. In what? Those that are what? Reflecting his image, right? So we got to see this. Let's go to Amos chapter 3, verse 2. And I'm going to be out your way real quick. Like I said, we here in the Holy Sabbath, the Holy Shabbat. Some people are still, they're celebrating Pesach. They're in the middle of Passover. Some people are resting their mind, which we should do. But I'm glad for those who were here and here to give the Most High, and it ought to crept up on y'all on a different time and place, right? Thank you. Amos chapter 3, verse 2. It says, let me start at 1. People of Israel, listen to this message which Yah has spoken about you. Yah has spoken about you. He said the entire nation he brought out of Egypt, right? Of all the nations on the earth, you are the only one I have known and I've cared for. I know it's hard for people to hear this and understand it. I'm just telling you, this isn't what Elder said. This is what thus saith Yahweh, thus saith Yahweh. This is what is written, right? It says, you are the only ones I've known and cared for. That is what makes your sin so terrible. That's why the judgment comes down on us the way it is, because he's saying, I loved you. I pulled you out. I brought you out of captivity. I've given you miracles that other nations would love and wish they were able to physically see, but it wasn't good enough. It wasn't good enough, right? So he says, that is what makes your sin so terrible, and that is why I must punish you for them. We should be tired of the punishment. They should have saw the punishment that was going to occur. They saw so many things that were happening, right, before them. Even after watching the miracles, they forgot the punishments. They were out in the wilderness. They forgot the punishments. They saw the manna. They forgot. I got manna. They forgot punishments. They saw there was murmuring constantly after watching the holy set apart ones get what? Taken out by the Most High. When Christ returns, when Yeshua returns, what is he looking for, prophetess? He's saying, I'm coming here, right? And I'm looking for perfection. I want you to be perfected. He wants us to be, and I'm not paralyzed. I'm not putting us on the same line, but I want you to be the Passover lamb. He wants us to be perfected. Perfect. Because when we're perfect, then what? The Qahal or the churches become perfect. The world can become perfect. Shalom, it's good to see you. I'm reading out of the book of Jasher. Jasher chapter 80, verse 30 through 36, right? So let's go. I'm going to Ephesians chapter 5, verse 27. I'm almost out your way. Give me 10 more minutes and that's it. Y'all can move on with the Sabbath tonight. In order to present to the church to himself in all its beauty, it says pure, we know this, and faultless, without spot or wrinkle or any other imperfection. This is what he's searching for. Perfection. He wants you and me. He wants us. He wants the church, the people of what? Those who are following his word and the law to become perfected. Now we're back to miracles. You don't think that's possible? So I'm going to go back to Jasher chapter 80. And I'm just showing you this, that the things that were happening, and this is as a historical event. By any means, I'm not putting this before Torah, but before the law, And we know based off of Joshua 10 and 2 Samuel, there was a book of Jasher that existed. But he says in in Jasher chapter 80, verse 37, 36, and Yah sent darkness upon Egypt. For those who don't have it, I can't see the reflection. Maybe it's right here. Yeah, 36. He sent darkness, what? Amongst the land in Egypt. The whole land of Egypt and Pathros became dark for 3 days, so no man could see his hand. At that time died many people of Israel who had rebelled against the Lord and who could not listen, right, to Moses and Aaron and believed in them not, that Yah has sent them. What do we say? Judgment began within Israel. This is, see, when we start dealing with this, sis, I just order it online. And I like the book of Jasher because it goes into details. Some people may not accept it. It deals with Nimrod and Tower of Babel and who killed Nimrod. It really gets into the whole historical certain things in the history that we can't that it kind of skips over, right? So you can get this online. I got it online. I ordered it, I don't know, a while ago, right? So the Most High already understood. Before I proclaim more miracles, I got to get rid of the snakes in the camp. This is what he's saying. Before, because those same people, right, could have been the ones, Shalom, those same people could have been the same ones, right, that set Zion and Israel backwards, right? And Sister D, I was saying that we understand that there's original book of Jasher that is we're going to word missing, and this book was so-called publicized or put together around in the 15th century, but it dealt with the history. It's just like, hold on for a second, hold on. It's just like the Josephus writings. Now, Goyim, Gentile or not, remember there are still historical books, and this is a big book. It deals with the history, things that maybe writers had or they found, and they were able to research. I know some people say, "Hey, I don't care for the writings," but we have to look at everything that the Most High, and then people say, chew up the bones, chew up the meat, spit out the bones. Yes, but be careful. Don't drink the poison, right? But we still have to utilize these things that the Most High has given us, right? So we see that the judgment began where? It starts right here in Jasher 80 at the church. He said, listen, I'm not even going to give them a chance to get right. He took out the ones that were hidden. There's always one that's hidden. Yes, the judgment begins in the house of the Most High Yah, right? So the ones who would have told that was coming. Look, we gotta get rid of, we gotta pass over the ones who we think need to be saved, but the Most High Yah says, I don't want no parts to deal with. Because see, we don't really get an account of really seeing who really passed, who was in Moshe and Aaron's family or in that lineage that could have been a stumbling block to everybody or even to them, right? We gotta pass over the ones, right, that are walking around with all this folly. We got to pass over the ones who just are disrespecting the Most High. When they disrespect the Most High, they disrespect you, they disrespect the Most High. We got to pass over. You see this in the season, Passover means to skip. I got to skip away from you. I got to pass. I can't have you in my aura. I got to have an aura check where there has to be, there's just going to have to be, what, a distance, right? We got to pass over the ones that saying the law is done away with. Why are you still celebrating, talking about Passover? Why are you? Because Yeshua, because Christ kept Passover. That's what he did. We got to pass over the ones that, are just doing the things that are perverting and messing with our whole whole mindset. I'm seeing so many people in and out of Zion, and people are just, I'm seeing some just stuff out here that I'm just like, okay, you know, we have to really sit down and we got to see how Yah is going to what? Judge the ones that are closest to him first. Okay. You know what, Sister G, I have to get that. The Sefer book, the Sefer Bible. I have to get it. I don't have it, and I heard it's just so much in it. It was really, I'm not even gonna lie to you. I saw it and I was gonna get it, and this was a few years back, so I'm not paying that money for that. You know, and that's true. That was me when I was like, what? Okay, you can get it, and you can get it online, and you get all this stuff. And I'm like, that was me. But it's so much because I see brothers and sisters that are reading it, and they're being able to be enlightened by these things. So in the Sefer Bible, the book of Jasher's in there as well. You know, we just got to understand those who are dealing with drugs and alcohol. You got to pass over that. It's a temporary fix, but the problem is still there, right? We're still forced with reality. We're still forced with what? The darkness. He wants us to come out of darkness. He wants us to be what? The illumination light for the world. We got to pass over the distractions of the world. Did y'all see what happened on for those, and I understand the calendars, I just talked about the calendars earlier, but as Wednesday night came in, as I looked at the app and I'm looking at the moon or trying to seeing they were having a rocket launch. You had all times of the years to do this, and this is when you choose to do it. A distraction. My kids is like, Daddy, no. Hey, Daddy, we need to, no. Every day this week, no, we're going to be reading the manuscripts, and we're going to we watch the AI Bible, right? That's online. I mean, that's on the YouTube. It's great. AI Bible, right? And they got all the characters, and we're watching different Bible stories. We can watch the rocket another day. But the distractions, the speeches, things that are distraction, we got to what? Pass over Babylon. We got to pass it over. This is it. Not wanting to be parts of it. We got to walk by it and look and say, that looks good. It's like you're walking in the street and you notice a bad block. Are you going to walk down that block? No, you're going to pass over or pass around it, right? If you got any sense. I mean, you could be super thug out there or superhuman, you know, but you get the whole point. John chapter 8, verse 23, and I'm almost done, y'all. 8 and 23. It says, Yeshua answered, you belong to this world here below. But I come from what? Above. We know this. He's saying, I come from a different place. I told you earlier when we're back in Amos, you come from a different place. We come from a different place. But we want to pass through all of the nonsense that's on the earth. So every time we pass through something, right? We pass through something. You don't think we're picking up spirits as that goes on? We don't pick up addictions as that goes on, and we wonder why we can't shake them and get rid of them. So let me finish. John chapter 8, verse 23. He says, so you are, but I come from the world above. You are from this world, but I am not from this world. So he was checking them, right? This is why I told you that you will die in your sins. Jasher, they died in their sins. They didn't have the faith. They didn't believe. They didn't understand. It was their choice. They had a choice, shalom, in the matter, right? It says, so that is why I told you that you will die in your sins, and you will die in your sins if you do not believe I am who I am. Jasher chapter 80. I'm just going back. I know y'all tired of hearing this, right? And we have to use. There's a lot of these books. Sister Medallia, I saw you wrote it. You said, okay, yeah. And there's something else out there as well. Jasher chapter 80, right? Verse 36 through 50. I told you it says it right here. And when we look at it, For those who didn't see it, I showed y'all earlier, right? It says, and Yah sent darkness upon Egypt. The whole land of Egypt and Pathros became dark for 3 days. So know that no man could see his hand when he lifted to his mouth. And they were still complaining. And at that time, many died of the people of Israel who had rebelled against Yah. He took them out. They would not listen to the word of Moses and Aaron. They don't want to listen to the word of the prophet. They don't want to listen to the word of the apostle. They don't want to listen to the word and the spokesperson, the mouthpiece, the pay of the Most High. They don't want to fish. This is, here we go. So what did Yeshua? We told you before about what? Darkness. He's saying, I'm not from this earth. This is what he's trying to tell them because they couldn't understand that they were set apart. So I'm going to tell you, and maybe you'll grasp the concept. I'm not from here. You're not from here. The minute that you transfer dimensions, and I don't want to lose people here. The minute you become a new creature, the minute you understand the power and the light being power that the Most High Yah has given you, you want to say, I'm not from here. I was let me jump back. 8:23. He says, this is why I told you that you would die in your sins, and that you will die in your sins if you do not believe that I am who I am. They said, well, who are you? They asked him. Who are you? They ask you today who you are. I'm a spokesperson of the Most High. Well, who gave you the authority to teach? Let me see your degree. Okay, hold it for a second. I'm not getting up. It means nothing. My degree came from the Most High. And I'm telling you to get right. He's telling them to get right, but they didn't want to hear it. They don't want to hear you. They did not understand. This is what it's saying. Yeshua said, I've told you from the very beginning. I have much to say to you, much to condemn you for. The one who sent me, however, is truthful, and I tell the world only what I have heard from him. You speak and tell the world only what you have heard from the Most High. Stop taking for granted the little thing that you say. You tell somebody to stop, boom. Whose word is that? Understand your power. We got to pass over this nonsense. I keep telling y'all. Pass over the people who disrespect you. Pass over the ones that's committing blasphemy. Pass over the ones that keep telling you the law is done away with. Pass over the ones who have this anger and hatred and wickedness. Pass over the ones that are disrespecting the Father. Pass over the ones that just refuse to change. Pass over the drugs and the alcohol. Pass over all the things that Hasatan has put in our way to keep us from reaching our goal, and our goal is to be echad with the Most High. You know, it looks very easy. It's very easy. The distractions are put here to what? Push you back. Once you understand you're not from this world, where'd my Bible go? Once you understand you're not from this world, once you understand. Oh, man, I'm almost scared myself. Once you understand that the Most High has said, I gave you these set-apart feast days. I've given you these law, statutes, and commandments. I have told you the way to move. I have told you when to blow the shofar. I have told you when my holy set-apart days were. I have told you, he tells us over and over and over and over that we tell others. Remember, this is not our world. Isn't that what Yeshua said? 2nd Ezra, chapter 2. Let's go here, prophet. And I'm done. I'm done. The elder crept up on y'all on a Friday night, and y'all keeping the Sabbath, right? The Most High looking like, yeah, they got a triple on it. They done kept Passover, Pesach, rolled on into unleavened bread, and rolling on into my holy Saturday. He's smiling. Because it was a nice day, too. It was a nice day. I was like, man, I'm off of work. Look at the yard. When Saturday's gonna be nice and Sunday's gonna rain. Boom. Pass over the nonsense. Pass over the mindset that, you know what, it's okay if I just go out here and just do this. Yah says, I'm gonna make it rain so y'all get an extra day. I'm gonna send a Mayim, that water to help. Let me get in this. Let me get out your way. Let me get out your way. Right? So when we look, Second Ezra, right? We see it over and over. In Second Ezra, he was telling us, right? He was telling us that, listen, you are not from this world. It says, for Esau is the end of this world. What Yeshua say? I'm not from this world. Our mindset is locked. Our glands are stuck in the world and what we see today. Our mind is stuck on the spirit of distraction. He says, listen, I am what? Not from this world. The end of this world is Esau, and Jacob is the world, what? Is the beginning of the world that follows. This is what he's trying to tell us. Come out of it. When we come out of Babylon, we're not worrying about what's going on overseas. We're not worrying about what's going on out here. Yes, we have to have our mind and keep it sharp. We have to worry. We have to make sure that we're ready, because no man really knows that they are our. We know the signs. But if you're not keeping aware and comparing it back to Torah, comparing it back to the books, comparing it to what's happening, you're going to miss it. And you may be one of the ones that got destroyed. Exodus chapter 12, verse 14 through 20. You must celebrate this day as a festival to remind you of what I, Yahweh, Yah, have done. Celebrate it forever. Forever. Luke chapter 22. Luke, I'm done, prophet. Chapter 22. Let me read 14 for those. When the hour has came, Yeshua took his place at the table with the disciples. He asked them, I have wanted so much to eat. Oh, I don't even like this verse. He said, he had asked them, I wanted so much to eat this Passover meal with you before I suffer. My point is what he said. He kept Pesach. He kept his father's Passover. His father, your father, the whole world's father, the creation's father. We want to keep people's birthdays, but we don't want to keep the Most High's Passover. We don't want to keep the Most High's birthday. That's me. That's me saying that. We don't want to keep his birthday. He said it's his day. We want everybody to honor us. The world wants everyone to honor each other, but we don't want to honor the Most High. We want to walk around still talking about Easter bunnies and rabbits and don't want to deal with a Astarte and start dealing with the demon gods where it came from, or goddesses where it came from. Oh, that's too heavy. That's too much. Well, who? What are we doing here? Are we understanding this? He's telling us here. Now I cut you, jump to 18. I mean, he's telling us here in 22. He says, let me jump to 18, right? No, excuse me, 16. He says, for I tell you, I will never eat it until it's given its full meaning in the kingdom of God. Then Yeshua took a cup, gave thanks to Yah. He said he gave thanks to Yah. He's even thanking him for saying, yo, listen, I'm about to lose my life. He's thanking him for it. And we half thank him for the miracles that he performs on our bodies every day. Do you understand what Revelation Ezekiel, Daniel, there may be a time that you got to make a choice. We understand the choice is here. Are you going to thank him? I pray that we are the elect and we sealed. But that time may happen. Yeshua still found it in his heart, in his lid. That should just make some of y'all sick. That he even thanked him. I'm thanking you for taking me from off of this work, from off of this world. I know it's quiet. Take this and share it amongst yourself. And I tell you, from now on, I will not drink till the wine comes. Till the wine until the kingdom of God comes. That goes back. I was talking to my daughter tonight. We were talking about Nazarite vow. And we were going about the Nazarite. My daughter's like, Daddy, well, hey, listen, y'all. Yo. I don't mean any disrespect or harm. Because it goes back on me. I missed it. I've always thought the Nazarites were, being a Nazarite law, you had to be a man. I went back and read it and said that the Nazarite vow could be taken from a man or woman. So I don't know. I just feel like I need to apologize to my women out there. Because my daughter was like, Daddy, could I be a Nazarite? And I read right through it. And it made me pause and reverse and go reread it and say, wait, huh? I saw it. that was tonight. Sorry, y'all. I just had a moment there. You know, I had a moment. It was about an hour before I came on, and we were reading scripture, and my daughter asked me that, and I just read it, and I read through it, and she heard it. I read through it. We read through stuff. This is why sometimes we can read. I know somebody, Elder, how you ain't see that? You ain't know that? Nope, I sure didn't. I don't know everything. Right? Sometimes you just do something and that was something you could run with. You can't be a Nazarite. You know. And my daughter called me back out on it. Daddy, wait, you just read it. You didn't hear yourself read? Shh, prophet, apostle. If it wasn't about the women, you think some of us would be here right now? They held it down. That's why really understanding Miriam and Magdalene and starting to understand it goes back to Esther and really understanding the women and the power that women have in the kingdom. I'm sorry, some of my brothers that may come in earlier, I know y'all may inbox me. Yo, listen, because we know the West leg that they came from. Listen, come out of her. Allow the women to move forward. Allow the women to what? Take their place. Allow the women. The Most High Yah has given it to them several times. If the woman didn't have the wisdom to put Moshe or put Moses in the basket, did it say, let's go back in the scripture, did it say that his father told her to put him in a basket? If we really look at the manuscript, did it say did Zephora? Oh man, Zephora. Zephora, but we don't know. Moses' wife. Moses' wife. Moshe was going back. Most High said, "I'm about to take you out right now." She said, "What? Doop. Let me grab this stone. Snip. Let me get the cutting and dicing." Right? We see that, right? So the Most High, and you really think about it, he worked through his wife. I'm done, y'all. I got sidebar, but the Most High is bringing this out. Right, Apostle? He worked through his wife. What if she didn't think to be like, oh, wait, we gotta, oh, excuse me, wait. I got said the wrong name. Wait. Oh, y'all, wait, Moses? No, Abraham. No, I'm talking. If he says that wait, you didn't, yeah, Abraham, excuse me. Abraham's wife. Abraham's wife is Zipporah, right? My brain, pulling a brain freeze. But think about it. Even with Abraham, she said, listen, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to what? Take this and we're going to go in and we're going to what? Oh, somebody fix it if I'm messing it up right now. Hold on for a second. My brain just went. Oh man, right on the live too. But I'm human, y'all. I'm human. This stuff happens, right? Oh, Sarah, yes, yeah, okay, and that's right. Deborah, the judge of Israel, right? And came through and said, wait, yeah, Moses' wife was Zipporah, the Mennonite, right? Moses' wife. Oh man, Spirit, y'all, come back and come to me, because I don't. Yes, Moses' wife is Zipporah. Okay, and it was Abraham's wife. Come on, Apostle. Abraham's wife who said, wait, hold on for a second. We got to do the circumcision, right? Oh man, wait. Hey, it can happen. I don't know how it can happen sometimes, but I'm looking for somebody that do it, so we ain't got to go here. We ain't got to go here, because I want to get back to Jasher real quick, right? Yeah. Judges, judge, the military leader, the prophetess, right? The boar. Even when we think about who did Rabbi Shaul, who did Paul go to? Where does it say Paul went to when Paul was, who was Paul talking to? He went to the woman. He went to the women. You better go back and go back and read the letters of Paul for those who want to teach and say women don't have a right place. Okay, it was Zipporah that was about the circumcision. Okay, yes. All right, thank you. Right, thank you, because I was really gonna say we're gonna sit here and y'all could have logged out till I found it, because my brain went. So we have to see and understand that. Listen, the Most High Yah will use. He will give us instructions. He will give us historical. He will give us books sometimes that can help us point back to what? Show him his ways. He can use these. History to help us, right? So we got to just not be ignorant in this season, but we got to start to skip and pass over and pass over all this nonsense that's before us. It's like a football game. And you take a quarterback. If he throws the ball low, what happens? It gets intercepted. He has to throw it what? High, so it passes over the defender. Basketball. You're playing basketball. You go to shoot the ball low. What are they going to do? Block it. You got to pass over, so you pass it to the defender, or you shoot high and pass it over into the net. We keep passing low, and we keep getting deflected, and we keep wondering why we're still sitting here spinning on wheels. But listen, this is the elder. It was good seeing y'all. I know I crept up on y'all on a Friday night, but listen, when the Most High Yah says it's time to go, it's time to go. It's time to get it out. So I love y'all. For those who have kept Pesach or is keeping Pesach or moving into Pesach, I understand some people are moving into Pesach next week. I saw some people moving it into the 14th, and I've even seen some people going into May. Listen, the Most High Yahweh, he knows he's going to realign us all. I love you, and I will not hate you on whatever. I will hate you if you're not keeping the Passover, because we must love what Yah loves and hate what he hates. All right? So may the Spirit of the Most High say so, for the Spirit of Yah is at hand and has spoken. Shalom, 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 shalom.